Hello, my name is Elliott Williams, and this is my business profile presentation. The company that I'll be analysing is Toyota. The first question says, what is the firm doing to foster cultural competence and thereby better manage its diversifying workforce and/or markets? What else should be done or could be done better? Think broadly in terms of diversity. The first thing to address is that Toyota is an Asian company by origin, which means that they're naturally inclined, especially being based in those areas, to employ those of Oriental descent. For example, if you're in Japan, the widest range of people are Japanese people. But Toyota is adamant that they want the best personnel, so they regularly recruit people from Europe, from the United States. Anybody that's best qualified to do that particular job is the person in which is employed, which naturally yields a diverse workforce because each person has different skills, for example. However, haven't done a particularly good job in diversifying the factory work floor. Whatever country that their factory may be in, those are the type of workers in which are employed for that particular job. This is understandable because a factory floor job isn't as well paid as an engineering job higher up the hierarchy, which means that naturally people aren't going to move country in order to do such a job. So to this extent, it's understandable. With regards to the figures, Toyota in 2004 in their Japanese plant had 89% people that could be considered from Asian origin, leaving only 11% for others. In recent years, that has completely changed. The last census in which they did was in 2014, and they had it went down from 89% all the way down to 84%, which is a major drop, even if it is over 12 years. And that includes factory floor jobs and the higher paid engineering jobs. With regards to diversifying their markets, Toyota has done a really good job in getting themselves into the European market. However, they've done a not so good job of getting themselves into the United States. They've improved this by changing their model range. Initially, when Toyota tried to implement themselves on the US market, they didn't change the model of cars in which they were manufacturing for the United States. In the US, being from Europe, I know it seems that bigger is better, and the cars are naturally bigger over here. SUVs and pickup trucks are more abundant, and in Europe this is less so, and also in Asia. So Toyota didn't have these models of cars for this country. They've done a really good job in changing this in recent years. Over the last 5 years, they've produced 3 award-winning models of SUVs, including the RAV4, a compact SUV, the 4Runner, and the Land Cruiser. Those last two being bigger SUVs that have really been well adopted over here in the United States. The second question says, what is the trajectory of the company? Has it grown, shrunk in the past few years? What opportunities are there for employees to develop? What is the climate of the company? What type of employees are they looking for, and who are they hiring? Toyota really does extremities when it comes to hiring personnel. They look for well-qualified engineers. When I say well-qualified, I mean well experienced as well. These people tend to be older. They're not so much just graduate engineering students, but people that have been in the field for the last 10 and 20 years. This is why some people consider this to been the major contributing factor as to why Toyota seems to be outdated, almost, arguably. Or they also do also hire young workers. These young workers are often the factory floor workers. It's very rare, but this is changing, it should be noted, that a young graduate is employed at Toyota and given a managerial role. Instead, they're considered more of an apprentice, and it's the decisions of the well-qualified engineers that are higher up the pecking order, it's their ideas that get promoted the most. But it's definitely, Toyota has grown internationally. Before, it was seen as a company that we've only really had market share in Asia and Europe. But as I've mentioned previously, they've done a really good job of coming into the United States. Their employees are given a lot of fringe benefits, especially over here in the United States and Europe. Example, employees learn to drive for free. This is only at certain factories and certain roles, but it's still a stepping stone that can be rolled out for more employees. They also have a lot of fringe benefits. So, for example, mechanics are allowed to use some of the tools and take some of the tools home. I believe Toyota is the only company in the world that does this. How beneficial this may be, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if mechanics also want to work on stuff outside, but if that's their passion, then I'm sure they would find time to do such things. Toyota is really good at allowing their employees to progress up through the ladder. It's noted that 2 years is the average amount of time that it takes a well-qualified graduate engineer to acquire a managerial job. As I mentioned before, these jobs are pretty scarce and they tend to employ more experienced employees, but 2 years before a managerial role, and also it should be noted a significant bump in pay is a good factor. Toyota is a major company and it's well respected around the world. So although this isn't a direct benefit for people that are planning to be employed by Toyota in the long run, but Toyota being such a major company, it makes it easy for them to move on, employees to move on to other companies. You have Toyota on your resume, especially in certain positions, and they know the quality and the standards that Toyota expects from their employees, and the employer may be more inclined to employ a particular employee because of this. The third question says, what level of education is required? Toyota, as being a major company that goes from raw materials all the way to a finished product, actually employs a wide variety of workers. But so the qualifications that are required to work here obviously differ from somebody that works on the factory floor to somebody that's looking for a chief executive job. But generally, a degree is what is required, or some form of higher education. People that didn't acquire that higher level of education don't generally move past the factory floor level. They mentioned on their website that they're proud to partner with many institutions, many major institutions. Example, 2 Ivy League universities being Princeton and Stanford. They regularly work with their graduate, undergraduate and postgraduate students on projects. They also partner with a lot of European universities and fostered the idea of an event called Formula Student. They help sponsor this, in which students looking to get in with motorsport engineering degrees look to produce a small Formula E car with changing technologies each time. Yeah. The final question says, also, how is the company engaged in its community? Does it support service or social responsibility? What else should be done? Toyota is really engaged in the community. This should be said for Asia, however. In Europe and the United States, they haven't really found that level of engagement. They often partner with major events. For example, they'll be in the part of the Olympics or the Champions League. In Europe, they're also proud sponsors of that. They're also proud sponsors of the UEFA League and the Europa League as well. So they make sure that they get their reach out across to all these major events, but their presence is less seen lower down, almost on the grassroots level, to support workers there. that is